Hi all, this is Once a Future Gamer here, and last time we took on Pokemon Silver with a single Drowsy. A pretty fun run with a teeth-shattering red fight right at the end, but today let's do something different. Let's head to Pokemon Fire Red and answer the question of whether or not I can beat it with just a single Electrike. Electrike is one of those Pokemon that you've probably used in Hoenn games. It's a single electric type with a base stat total of 295. Our best stats are special attack and speed at 65. Our defences and HP are pretty bad at 40 apiece. 295 is the same base stat total as Blitzel, Duskull, Horsey, Shroomish and Shuppet. We're weak to ground, we resist steel, electric and fighting. Pretty easy to remember. Looking at our moveset, you might spot there's going to be a bit of an issue for this. We get very little coverage. The only move we learn naturally that isn't normal or electric is Bite at level 33. That should make Brock fun at the start. None of these moves are particularly good. Our TM list is slightly better. We get Shockwave and Thunderbolt, Return, Iron Tail, Thief, but that's about it. We can get Body Slam and Double Edge from the move tutor, but they're probably not better than Return. Hopefully we get a good hidden power type. Just the predictions, Brock is likely to be unpleasant. I have a strange feeling about that. We're probably going to have to be at least level 20 to beat him. Giovanni might actually be a challenge in this one with his ground types. Bruno could be interesting, but those are probably the main fights I think we could struggle with. Erica will resist our stab moves, but we should have a workaround by then to brute force her. I'm not sure about how hard the final rival fight will be, but I really hope we get the static ability. Just the rules then. In combat, I can only use Electrike. Other Pokemon will be needed for HMs but unable to fight. Only held items and Pokeballs in battle. Healing outside of battle is permitted though. Last of all, no glitches or exploits. I use the Universal Pokemon Randomizer to replace Squirtle with Electrike so that we can do the whole run with the Electric Doggo. I choose to replace Squirtle so that our rival has Venusaur, the hardest for us to fight. I nickname our Electrike Trike. You try and come up with something better. She has the static ability, nice, and the adamant nature, so more attack and less special attack. That could actually be worse. We have plenty of special attack to start with. We can't EV train it until we get to Cerulean, and I have a feeling we might be maxed out by then. Plus, we're going to have to physically overcome Brock, so adamant nature, not the worst result. Rival fight in the lab then, Bulbasaur versus Trike. There's never really any sort of tactics here if you've got an attacking move. It is Pokemon battle in its purest form. Just hit each other over and over and over again until something goes down. I do notice we never managed to get the static off on Bulbasaur, despite being hit at least 4 times by a tackle by my count. I can already tell it's going to be one of those runs, isn't it? I land one blow on something with static and I'll get paralysed. The enemy will hit me a dozen times and never come close to getting paralysed. You know these things happen. Anyway, once that's out of the way, I go grinding. I go hit the Mankey on Route 22. We're going to need the attack EVs for our nature and for the stuff that we can't electrocute. Hello, Brock. I grind up to level 12 where we get the move Howl, which could be useful, especially for Brock, and then I head to tackle the rival on the same route. Thanks to Sand Attack from the Pidgey, we lose this. I even get 3 Howls up, but get tackled repeatedly by the bird, and it does pretty big damage to us. Even with 3 Howls, we can still only 2-hit it, and the Sand Attack cripples us on the turns when we miss. Bulbasaur finishes us off. Even with paralysis afflicting it, we miss the killing blow, even as I think I've gotten away with it. Let's go grind some more. If we can't win this fight, we're really not ready for Brock. I grind up in the grass on Route 22 for a few more levels before I tackle Rod again at level 15. And this time, we never get sand attacked, which is fortunate, meaning we can 2-hit Pidgey and send it crashing down before Bulbasaur comes out and we 2-hit it with tackle. One of them a crit, meaning that we get some small measure of revenge. I make a try on Brock when I get to Pewter City, but I am not confident. I suppose in theory, if I get 6 Howls on and good paralysis luck from static and maybe a crit or 2, I might have a chance, but I doubt it. I'm at level 16, so let's see. This fight goes about as well as expected. Even with 6 Howls up, we still barely do any damage to Geodude, largely in part to it using Defense Curl, which does not help. Even when it does miss a turn here and there due to paralysis, it's still hitting way too often, and each hit does decent damage to us. They cut a chunk out of our health. We get badly beaten up by the time we knock it out. The first hit we land on Onix is a crit, and it does about a quarter of its health. Yipes! That's mega not good. It then knocks us out with Rock Tomb, so we do need more levels. I predicted I might need to be level 20 ahead of victory here, at least, so I hit that level and then make another stab at Brock. I'm still not sure this will be enough, but at least quick attack is an upgrade on tackle. Plus, if we're getting hit with rock tombs, it'll definitely be useful. 6 howls on Geodude and then quick attack it repeatedly. This is not a clever strategy, but it will have to do. It uses defense curls, but it does do less damage with tackle attacks, so there is that. But it still takes many blows for us to knock it out. At least it doesn't know Rock Tomb, so there is that. That would make things worse. And we did at least have good paralysis luck, because otherwise this could have gone pretty bad. Onyx comes out and lands 2 Rock Tombs on us, which normally would be bad. But our stats have been buffed that much that we can survive them on red health and free hit the Onyx with quick attack. Nice one, Trike. We did learn Spark while levelling up, so I have a feeling the next 2 major fights shouldn't be an issue. But on the way there, I pick up an old rock in Mount Moon, and I will say no more on the subject. How good or bad do we think Misty will be? I'm going to find out. We do have a type advantage and a super effective move, but we are pretty frail, so let's see. Staryu is a one-hit knockout with Spark, so that's something. Starmie, though, is faster and wipes out over half our health with Water Pulse before we do about 2/3 of its health in damage with Spark. I'm prepped to wipe, but thankfully we paralyse it and then outspeed on the next turn to finish it off with another Spark. Nugget Bridge rival fight is next, and I have a feeling I might have an easy time versus Pidgeotto. This can often be one of the hardest rival fights in this game. Pidgeotto does hit a priority quick attack, but then goes down to Spark. Rattata does the same thing, quick attack, and then gets knocked out by Spark. Abra can't attack us, so while this is ongoing, I take the chance to use 6 howls, largely because I know Bulbasaur has the potential to be mega annoying, and I don't want to take chances. Abra just tries teleport over and over again, while Trike howls so much that the neighbours complain about her. Before I make the strange choice to use Thief, and Abra duly survives. I finish it with quick attack. I should probably have done that first. +6 in attack, combined with Abra's low defence, would probably have left it a fine red mist lingering in the air. Anyway, Bulbasaur goes down to a sole quick attack. Let's move on. It's not long before we fight him again on the SS Anne though. At least we got Bite before this, so he got some coverage against stuff that resists Electric. I caught some Meowth for the pickup ability too. I need a hidden power TM, and this is the easiest way to get it if I recall. So, Pidgeotto goes down to Spark before the Raticate comes out next and gets shocked by the Murder Train with Spark. Kadabra survives Spark and then uses Disable, but we finish it with Bite. Ivysaur, we hit some bites and quick attacks on, but a combination of Leech Seed and Sleep Powder plus a flurry of Vine Whips mean we don't actually come close to knocking it out in the end. Getting beat by a Pokemon 13 levels lower, that is rough. Maybe I need to rethink this. Out of interest, I go see what the hidden power is that we get out on the route to the east of the Million. Water would probably be best. First experiment on an Ekans proves that it's neutral damage versus the poison type, so it's not grass, poison, psychic, fighting or ground. I face a Spearow and hidden power doesn't affect it, so my guess is that it's ghost. I reset the game and unlearn hidden power. I might get some use out of it at some point, but unlikely. Bite does the same thing pretty much. I try the rival again, and this time I utilise Howl a bit more versus Kadabra and Raticate. It's frigging dangerous doing it versus Pidgeotto. If I get sand attacked, it's bad. I one-hit the bird and then Raticate comes out. 2 howls and I knock it out with quick attack after getting hits with Tail Whip and Hyper Fang. 2 more howls versus Kadabra and it fails with Disable and Kinesis before it gets taken down with quick attack. Ivysaur, up last, goes down the same way. Surge is next, and this should be interesting, I think. I hate the gym puzzle in here. There's no sort of skill to it. Instead, it often feels like it's 99% luck. Anyway, Surge. Versus Voltorb, I howl a bunch of times, getting hit with 2 shockwaves and a sonic boom before I take it down with quick attack. Pikachu also goes down to quick attack before the Raichu goes down the same way quickly after. We don't get paralysed. That could have been a whole lot worse. Let's move on towards Lavender Town. I always have to mention how I hate Rock Tunnel, but I'm not going to deal with that this time, apart from that little interlude that I just said. Anyway, in Lavender Town, I get the return TM and learn it before making a stab at the Pokemon Tower rival fight. This is when his team starts to develop and there can be some problems. Pidgeotto is a one hit with Spark before Gyarados is next, and it has Intimidate. I put 2 Howls up and get hit by 2 Thrashers, which isn't good before I one hit it with Spark. Next is Growlithe, another Intimidate, another Howl, and I get hit with Ember, but I take it down with Spark. Kadabra is a one hit with Return before Ivysaur is last, and it duly goes down to a single return. Let's move on then. In Celadon City, it's the age-old choice between Giovanni first or Erica first, and I pick to go for Giovanni. Sure, 2 of his Pokemon resist our stab, but we do have Bite, so it might not be that bad. Plus, I am trying to save up for the Thunderbolt TM. This one isn't bad. Onix and Rhyhorn are 2 hits with Bite, but at least we get a flinch on Rock Gyarados. Rhyhorn does land a Fury attack, but not much happens of it. Kangaskhan is a bit tougher, it tanks a few Spark attacks, but we do take it down eventually. Kangaroos tend to not do well with electricity, and thus it has been proven yet again. I might make a try on Erica while I'm here. I'm not sure if we'll have an easy time of it. She likes to use status moves, and I doubt I'll be able to one-hit her Pokemon, so I'll need to set up. This could be rough, but I guess we'll have to see. Dog versus plants. We all know what dogs like to do with plants. I go for a Howl versus Victory Bell and immediately get Stun Spored. Well, I knew that was coming. Why is it that Stun Spore is never that accurate when I use it? Another Howl and I get hit with 2 Giga Drains. Ouch. We do knock it out with a single return though. Tangela only goes for Ingrain, thankfully, and we can swiftly take it down with return. Last is Vileplume, who hits a Giga Drain to put us on red health. If we get fully paralysed here, we will lose. That's a fact. Thankfully, it doesn't happen, and we one-hit it with return. After Pokemon Tower, I choose to head to Sylph next. I doubt we will win the rival fight here just yet, but it is a chance to gain some levels off Team Rocket. We clear out the entire building, and then have a face-off with Rod on the 7th floor. And this actually goes well. Pidgeot hits a quick attack, but goes down to Thunderbolt. I use 4 Howls versus Gyarados, helped out by the fact that it insists on using Bite. Dark moves are all special in this game, and if I recall, Gyarados has pretty indifferent special attack. It does get paralysed by our static ability, but never gets fully paralysed. I go for 4 Howls to remove the Gyarados Intimidate before I hit it with Thunderbolt, and it does what electricity usually does to Gyarados and wipes it from existence. Growlithe uses another Intimidate but goes down to Thunderbolt. That's what the 4th one was for. We do have +2 in attack, at least, and we need it. First for Alakazam, who we end with return, and then at the last, we use it to end the Venusaur with a pretty decisive single hit. Giovanni is next. We might as well fight him while we're here, and this one has the potential to be awkward. Poison and Ground is an unsettling combination potentially. We can't unleash the Thunder on him, and if we go for physical blows, we could get Poison pointed. Anyway, I go for a Howl versus Nidorino, and it goes to Poison Sting. 3 guesses exactly what happened next. Yep, poisoned. We don't even one-hit it with Thunderbolt, which is an issue. Nidoqueen is next, and we can at least 2-hit her with return, but all the while, the poison saps at our health. Kangaskhan is next. We have the leftovers, but poison deals more damage than they heal. I hit a big return, but don't knock it out, and Kangaskhan duly ends us with Mega Punch. Yeah, I just lost to Giovanni. That's pretty embarrassing. I'm going to go hang my head in shame. I go do a bit of training before I figure I'll try him again a few levels higher. I surely can't be that unlucky again, can I? This time goes more to plan, as I use 3 Howls versus Nidorino. I never get poisoned, which is awesome, and this time I can one-hit it with Thunderbolt. Thanks to our attack buffs, Nidoqueen and Kangaskhan soon after go down in single hits of return. Thanks to our attack buff, I even try a return on Rhyhorn and actually do a pretty good job of wiping out most of its health before it gets paralysed by static after landing a stomp. We finish it with Bite. I might as well hit Sabrina while I'm here. We could have an easy time here, or it could be bad. I'm not entirely sure yet, and I suppose we'll see. It starts off well when Kadabra goes down to return, and then Mr. Mime quickly goes down after to 1 return. And then Venomoth is also 1 hit by return. And then Alakazam, 1 hit with return. That was smoother than I thought it would be. Let's go do Koga next, because we can't go do Blaine until we've beaten Koga. Now, Koga could be interesting. We don't have anything super effective against him, so I've got an idea about just throwing lightning at him and seeing what happens. I lose this, but it is my fault. First, Coughing goes down to Thunderbolt, that's all well and good, but Muck comes out and survives the move with about a third of its HP left. I'm expecting a heal and go for Howl instead. He doesn't heal and I get hit by and poisoned with Sludge. Worse, I misclick on the next turn and accidentally go for Howl again, then miss the return on the next turn, which means we very quickly go down. Rats. Let's try that again. The second time goes a lot better, as this time I don't screw around on the Muck. Coughing number 1 goes down the same way, and even as the Muck goes to minimise again, I hurl a second Thunderbolt at it to match the first and it goes down. The second Coughing proves to be no more lightning resistance than the first one was and goes down. Wheezing looks troublesome for a moment as it survives Thunderbolt on a fraction of its health and lands Smokescreen before he heals it, but the second Thunderbolt is a crit that ends it. Blaine is next, and I think it will be a similar strategy if I'm honest. Hurl lightning at him and hope for the best. If I can adopt that tactic, I will. Obviously, it won't be any use in the final gym, but I figure Blaine is fair game. The first 3/4 of the fight is smooth sailing, as first Growlithe goes down to Thunderbolt, and then Ponyta, up next, is taken out the same way. Now, I figure Rapidash might survive the move, but I'm shocked, although not as shocked as it is, haha, when it goes down to one Thunderbolt. I definitely don't think Arcanine will fall to the move in one hit, and I'm right. It hits a pretty big Fire Blast that does heavy damage, but we take it down with a second Thunderbolt, and Trike wins the battle of the elemental doggos. Okay then, the 8th gym and Giovanni. This one could be rough. I think we might lose this if I'm honest. I'm very quickly proved right. I throw up a Howl on Rhyhorn but get hit with Scary Face. That could be a problem. I take it out with Bite but the damage is done. Quite literally on the next turn as Dugtrio hits us with Earthquake. We survive and take it down with Return. Nidoqueen though just about survives Return, but we get poisoned and duly finished off with Earthquake. I figured one of the Nidos would screw us up here. Let's go get a few more levels. I do the Sevi Islands stuff and then come back to face Giovanni again. I've got more levels and therefore more power, so it should be enough to see me through this. I'd hope anyway. At level 73 I rock up and repeat my strategy. Howl versus the Rhyhorn. It hits Scary Face once again and we get hit by Dugtrio, doing decent damage but not deadly considering. We take Dugtrio and Nidoqueen down with Return, but alas, we do get outsped by Nidoking and finished off with Earthquake. I wonder. I make a third attempt next and I have a plan. It goes a lot better this time as I answer the question of whether or not I can outspeed Dugtrio without the Scary Face debuff hitting us. Rhyhorn goes down to Bite before I get 2 Howls up versus Dugtrio and get hit with 2 Earthquakes before flooring it with Return. I am weak now and I really hope I get good luck at not being poisoned. Nidoqueen goes down to a Soul Return and immediately poisons us with Poison Point. This is going to be tight. Nidoking goes down to Return before the second Rhyhorn comes out to round out the match. I go for Bite and if this doesn't knock it out, we will probably lose. Thankfully, Bite crits and we take the last badge. So, a question then for you. How bad is the Route 22 rival fight going to be then? I'm curious, very curious. Not least because he has a Rhyhorn of his own now. Pidgeot is a one-hit with Thunderbolt before said Rhyhorn is next. Now, I know I can one-hit a level 45 Rhyhorn with Bite thanks to the previous battle, but his turns out to be made of sterner stuff than Giovanni's and survives. Thankfully though, it flinches and we take it down with a second Bite. I Howl versus Gyarados to negate the Intimidate before getting hit with Hydro Pump. I take that quite well and knock it out with Thunderbolt. I Howl versus Growlithe to once again negate the Intimidate before knocking it out, only taking Aaliyah. Alakazam is a one hit with Return before Venusaur is last. I hit a Return and it does about a third of its health before it goes for Growth. And then it starts using Synthesis to recover health, which is annoying. But I take the chance to go for another Howl. The one attack it does land on Trike is a brutal Razor Leaf which nearly ends us, but thankfully we take it down before things get out of hand. I'll definitely need to power up in the champion fight, that much is clear. I'm saying nothing about what's between here and the Pokemon League, but when we do get to the Indigo Plateau, here are our stats before we go into the Elite Four. At level 77, our speed is good, our attack is decent, and our special attack okay, considering our nature. Those defense stats do worry me though. Comments on whether or not you think I can do this are up now. Lorelei is up first, and although she's ostensibly an Ice-type trainer, 4 of her Pokemon are part Water-type. Dugong survives Thunderbolt and hits an Ice Beam. I know she's going to heal, so I put a Howl up just in case, and then knock it out with a second Thunderbolt. Cloyster is friggin' annoying, thanks to it wasting 2 turns with Protect. When Trike finally shocks it out of existence, it's a satisfying thing. After all, it was rather shellfishly wasting my power points there. That's not a Scottish accent. Slowbro goes down to a single Thunderbolt. Lapras is next. I think it might survive our electric move. Thankfully though, Thunderbolt crits it and takes it out before Jinx is last. Interesting that the AI thought the only thing not weak to us was the best thing to use last, but I'm not going to talk about that as we one-hit it with return. Let's move on. Bruno is next, and I'm thinking that this has the potential to be awkward. 2 of his Pokemon resist electric after all, and the others, the Machamp especially, can be irritating. I'm right to be worried. We do 2-hit the first Onix with Bite, but it lands an Earthquake, which deals pretty big damage, not good. The second Onix goes down the same way, but we do at least flinch it and don't have to worry about being struck with Earthquake. I go for Thunderbolt versus Hitmonchan. It knows counter, and I'm not trying return on it. I've fallen for that before, and I paralyse it before finishing it off with return. I hit Hitmonlee with return, and it lands a Brick Break for good damage. Knowing Bruno is going to heal it, well, hoping that he does anyway, I go for a Howl and take it out at the second attempt. Last is Machamp, and I hit it with return, but it survives and ends Tyke with a Cross Chop. Not good. Need to be stronger, I think. I make another attempt on the Elite Four at level 81. It probably won't be enough. I'm right. We take down both the Onix with Bite again, getting a flinch on the first one, but also getting hit with Earthquake from the second one. Hitmonchan we paralyse with a Thunderbolt, but thanks to me using 2 Howls, I get hit with 2 Rock Tombs, meaning we can't outspeed Hitmonlee and duly get defeated with a Brick Break. I go and grind again then. I'm at that point where the grinding is becoming painful. I do fight some swimmers and some Versus Seeker cue balls and some wild Pokemon in Victory Road. Part of what I hate about Victory Road in Kanto is the disparate mix of levels. Sure, you get some Onix, Machoke, Primeape, Arbok, Golbat, they're all high levels, but there's also Machop, Geodude and Zubat in the low to mid 30s level range in there, which is annoying. Give me high level stuff to grind on. What's new in me then? I had my first challenge submitted through the Pokemon Challenges section of my Discord, which was nice. Quite a good idea too. One I'll definitely act upon in a few weeks. As much as you think your own ideas are good, sometimes other people have some pretty good ones too. I've got a few Gen 5 challenges booked in now since it's a generation I've rarely touched. I haven't done a Pokemon Black challenge for probably over 6 months. Things are still raw after the Beedrill challenge. I know I did White 2 with Sandile, FYI, but I'm talking the OG Gen 5 game. There's one upcoming next week. See the outro at the end for more details. Back to the game. I try Bruno again at level 87. This time, I don't get any sort of flinch luck versus the Onix and get hit with 2 Earthquakes from the big rock snakes. The second of which, naturally, is a critical hit and takes us down for about 2/3 of our health, which is unfortunate. What is it with Bruno causing problems when I try to do Kanto with Hoenn doggos? He was awful when I took on Pokemon Fire Red with a single Poochyena too. Bit more grinding then, because if I'm not strong enough for Bruno, I'm probably not strong enough for the rest of them. First Giovanni causes me trouble, and now Bruno. This is a very surreal run. I try again at level 88. This time, the first Onix hits us with Rock Tomb to lower our speed, but we still take it out with a series of bites. The second Onix we flinch and take down with a second bite. So, we are at pretty much full health going into Hitmonchan. We hit it with Thunderbolt and paralyse it before I predict a heal that never comes and go for a Howl, only to get tagged with another Rock Tomb before we take it out. Hitmonlee hits a Mega Kick but goes down to return. Machamp isn't faster though, even after 2 Rock Tombs, and we duly hit a crit Thunderbolt to knock it out cold. That was fortunate indeed. Agatha is next, and this one I'm strangely not worried about. That feeling could come back to bite me potentially. And on the subject of bite, we do that to the first Gengar for super effective damage. It doesn't end it though, and it duly confuses us with Confuse Ray. That's a problem. Agatha heals it, but we never hit ourselves in confusion, taking it down with Bite and Thunderbolt. Golbat goes down to a single Thunderbolt before Arbok comes out next. It survives Thunderbolt and uses Screech, which could be an issue before we take it out with Bite. The second Gengar gets paralysed by Thunderbolt but puts us to sleep and uses Nightmare, dealing a quarter of our max health in damage every turn. That is bad. Thankfully, we get good paralysis luck. It doesn't hit us again because that would have been the end of it if it had, and we wake up just in time to take it down with Bite and to knock the Haunter out with Thunderbolt. Lance is next, and I figure I might need to set up a few Howls versus Gyarados. The Dragonair resists our Thunderbolt, so I am going to have to rely on Return. Gyarados is up first and intimidates, so I go for Howl. It uses Bite and dually gets paralysed off static, so I set up 3 more Howls while it only really lands a Dragon Rage in that time. That's a terrifying move at the start of the game, but not at the end. I one-hit it with Thunderbolt and then go on the sweep, one-hitting the first and the second Dragonair with Return. They go down very quickly to those blows. Dragonite also goes down to Return. I'm surprised at that, even with our buffs. Aerodactyl, up last, is blown out of the sky with a Thunderbolt, and I shock it back to the Jurassic era. Last is Rod then, and I'm not entirely sure I can do this at this level. It's about picking the right time to set up, I guess. I guess I'll probably need to get 4 or 5 Howls in over the course of the fight. 2 to negate the Intimidate, 2 or 3 to be able to wreck Venusaur with Return. Let's do this then. So, it's a question about where to set up. Pidgeot is too dangerous. It knows both Sand Attack and Feather Dance, both of which will likely turn this into an uphill battle. I can one-hit Pidgeot with Thunderbolt, so that solves that. Rhydon is definitely too dangerous to set up on. It's a free hit with Bite, and frankly, I'm lucky I get 2 flinches. I doubt I'll do that again. 1 Earthquake will give Trike a bad day. Alakazam, I get 1 Howl up versus, but it does do big damage with Psychic before I take it out with Return. Gyarados has some moves that can mess us up. It hits a Dragon Rage when I Howl before I take it out with Thunderbolt. Arcanine takes big damage from Thunderbolt, but we're too weak to tank a Flamethrower from it and dually go down. I need to be stronger to win this fight. I wish I had a better special move for both Rhydon and Venusaur, but alas, I don't. I make another try at level 92, and if this doesn't do it, I'll max out my level with rare candies. Pidgeot is a one hit with Thunderbolt, and here, up next, is where the problem is. I hit the Rhydon with a crit bite, and it survives. I don't get the flinch, and it one hits me from full health with Earthquake when we're 34 levels higher. That's ever such a slight issue. Screw it then, max power, level 100. Here are our stats. At least our defence just kissed 3 figures, and I have had worse special defence than that before going into a champion fight. Speed is great, attack and special attack are what they are. There's not really much else I can do short of double team. I don't think I really want to go down that route unless I have to. Next attempt on Rod. Actually, a lot of them end the same way, getting knocked out by Rhydon. That Earthquake messes us up just too badly. There's one occasion when we do beat Rhydon but get hit by Scary Face, meaning Alakazam, Gyarados and Arcanine are all faster than us, and Arcanine takes us out with 2 Flamethrowers. I'll make a few more attempts and then I might resort to double team. The Rhydon continues to be a hassle, a rocky wall if you were, and at last I have no choice but to replace Howl with double team. I'll have to Bite or Thunderbolt Venusaur, it would appear, and hope that Pidgeot goes for Feather Dance rather than Sand Attack. Here we go. I run a few attempts, and there is one where I make it all the way to Venusaur after getting 6 double teams up, and there's some real heart in the mouth moments, but alas, it comes crashing down when I miss the bite that could have stopped it from firing the Solar Beam that ended us. Drat. Eventually, we get a good run. We get our 6 double teams up versus Pidgeot, but get hit by 1 Sand Attack. That's not good, it's going to affect us for the rest of the fight. I did think about looking into Taunt to see if we can get it or learn it, but that felt a little over the top as a solution. Pidgeot does have Aerial Ace, but it's not something that I am really worrying about, especially when it paralyses itself off our static ability. Even a crit Aerial Ace doesn't do a lot to us. We eventually take it out with Thunderbolt, and the Rhydon, that dreaded monster, comes out next. At least we're constantly healing health thanks to the leftovers. We immediately miss our attacks, our bite, his earthquake, before we get a flinch off the next bite. We put it in red health and he lands earthquake. From full health we survive on 4 HP when we're 41 levels higher. His heal comes next and we go back to biting away, just hoping that another blow doesn't land. Thankfully he doesn't get a rock tomb off and we bring it down. Alakazam is a one hit with return and that's fortunate that we didn't miss. Gyarados is next and Thunderbolt duly brings it down for the count. Arcanine is next and there's a stalemate as Thunderbolt and Flamethrower miss. I repeat that on the very second turn. We hit one at the third attempt before he heals it and we have to take it out with 2 more Thunderbolts. At least we didn't get hit with one of his attacks. Venusaur is last and I am worried. We start to bite away. It uses growth immediately. We do very little damage to it, but I am truly thankful that it never lands a Solar Beam. This fight does take ages and ages and ages, thanks to Sunny Day powering up Synthesis, and don't forget, he can use items in battle too, as well as it having a Citrus Berry. It takes something like 4 hits to end Venusaur normally, but we made it through unscathed, even getting a crit bite off which speeds up the process. We knock it out eventually and enter the Hall of Fame. Well, this was interesting. Still not the worst champion fight I've ever had in Pokemon Fire Red. Hello, Makahita, but that endgame was an absolute brick wall. I was surprised by just how bad the champion fight was. Oh well, it's over now. I hope you enjoyed. I always feel like electric types get it rough in certain fights. Pearl with Shinx and Silver with Pichu were both rough too. Join me again next week for another challenge. As previously mentioned, we're heading to Pokemon Black for the first time in 31 challenges. We're going to answer the question of whether or not I can beat it with just a single Axew. That one is sure to be interesting. Tune in to find out. If you have liked what you've seen here, then as always, don't forget to like and subscribe as well as ring the bell. If you have any ideas for future challenges, drop them in the comments section, my Twitter feed, or the Pokemon challenge section of my Discord. Links are in the description. What's new with me then? Feel like I've got a few big life decisions to make over the next few weeks, but I'm going to try and not let it affect my uploads on here, particularly the challenges. They're the most popular videos I do, probably the ones I spend the most time on too. As always, if you've stuck around to this point, then thank you so much. There are a lot of options for your Pokemon Challenge fix on YouTube, and I'm grateful for you choosing mine. Well, I'm not going to hang around. Gen 5 games take ages to complete, so I'm going to go set that up shortly. Might do some Jedi Fallen Order before then. I want to kill some Stormtroopers, or some Resident Evil 4. I want to kill some Ganados. It must be that champion fight that's making me want to work out my bloodlust. Ah well, until next time, this has been Once a Future Gamer playing Pokemon Fire Red with a single Electrike. Take care folks, have a great week, see you next time. Bye bye.